I just remember this fear that people were going to get me, that people were out to get me. I ran down towards the back boulevard, and I probably ran a good quarter mile.
No one was chasing Jeff Lennan. He was on an acid trip and was hallucinating. The night began with a party at a friend's beach house.
We were already on several hits of LSD. We were smoking marijuana, and I didn't trust a few of the people that were there at that party. And so I just remember this paranoia kind of building up inside of me. I remember just bouncing out of the chair and running out of the house as fast as I could.
That night was a turning point in his life.
I wasn't doing very well in school, and I wanted to just get away from it. So I kind of dropped out and went to the beach and just started hanging around with people that were already involved with drugs and living that lifestyle of partying.
Eventually, his mom kicked him out of the house.
I would just crash at people's houses for a week or two, and then I would move on to the next house and stay there for a week or two. I'd earn enough to get by, to buy a lot of McDonald's.
Sometimes, after a wild party, he didn't have anywhere to go.
I would find a kind of a secluded spot, a concealed spot within the sand dunes, and grab a blanket and just fall asleep in the sand dune. I wanted to live in that moment and not really think about the future. That was the last thing on my mind.
One night, an acid trip turned into a nightmare.
I remember very clearly seeing skulls in pairs on the ceiling. And I just remember seeing the mouth moving, the jaw moving. And at that point, I was extremely fearful.
3 girls dressed in black and known around the beach as Satanists came up and asked him to sign a book.
I was kind of hallucinating, and I could actually see the bones through their clothes. And I remember them asking me, "Can we get your autograph?" I said, "No, I don't know what you guys were involved in, but I don't like it."
That's when fear took over, and he left the house running.
I began to hear voices telling me to kill myself. And they were very distinct, just, "Jeff, just take your life. If you can kill yourself, you'll feel much better. You won't have this fear right now that you're dealing with."
He ran to a convenience store and called his mother.
I was just panicking. I'm like, "Mom, I'm on drugs. I feel like people are trying to kill me."
He went to wait for her and stuck his hands in his pockets. That's when he felt a keychain that his mother had given him.
Didn't really know why I took it out of my pocket. I didn't even have a car. I flipped it over, and I remember seeing the words Jesus on it, and it had the Footprints in the Sand poem on it. When I got to the last paragraph where it said, "The Lord replied, 'My precious child, I love you and I would never leave you during your times of trials and suffering. But when you saw one set of footprints in the sand, it was then I carried you.'" And it's ironic because the man in the keychain was walking on the beach, and here I am living on the beach, and all these things that were very personal. And when I got to the last line, it was "Then he carried you." And I read that. I just remember this peace that came over me.
His LSD high immediately went away.
I was right in the middle of that trip. I was peaking in the middle of it, maybe 3 hours into it. So it wasn't like the hallucinations were wearing off anytime soon. But when that peace came over me, I just remember thinking, okay, God's trying to get my attention.
When his mother got there, she was relieved and surprised.
She was like, "What's the matter? There's nothing wrong with you. You seem absolutely fine." I explained the story to her, and I explained to her how I felt like God was trying to get my attention. And she had said to me, "Well, maybe you should come with me to the Bible study next week."
He met a member of the group who had been a drug addict.
He just shared with me how he came to know the Lord as a Savior, and kind of shared with me what I would need to do to be saved. And it was a desire of my heart to know Jesus as my Lord and Savior. And I just remember saying to him, "Let's go. let's do it now." So it's a miracle to me that that very night was the very end of drugs, LSD, marijuana, alcohol. It was the end.
Today, Jeff is married and has 2 children. He says after years of trying to escape from life, he's found fulfillment and happiness through Jesus Christ.
Ultimately, he's given me peace, and that I don't think anybody would want to trade what you feel, that peace, that restfulness you feel inside with God, for anything else in the world. I mean, material things, drugs, you know, anything. Jesus has just truly given me peace in my heart. And that puts a smile on my face.